What's up guys, this is Jedith, and this video is going to be going over the brand new post that was on Wowhead over the weekend, the 10.2 Havoc Demon Hunter rework, first impressions, talent overhaul, and fury economy. Now this was written by Shadarek. He is one of the mods over in the Fellhammer Discord, and kind of the main guy when it comes to writing these guides and just sort of reviews and stuff like that for Wowhead. So this is going to be chock full of information. There's going to be a lot of opinions put forth by Shad, and then I'm also going to give you sort of my take on things as we go. Let's dive right into it. We're going to scroll down, and first we're going to read the opening thoughts. Havoc Demon Hunter is receiving significant changes in patch 10.2 Guardians of the Dream. Most of these changes come in the form of reformatting of both the Havoc specialization and the Demon Hunter class talent trees. However, some new and exciting talent additions are coming bundled with the changes. In general, the changes open up the ability to take more talents and provide some important quality of life improvements, as well as better access to general defensive options. Mobility is also improved significantly when accounting for talents such as the ability to choose inertia over momentum or dash of chaos for players less used to the movement-based rotation. So essentially, all of these things right off the bat are really good. We're getting improved quality of life in terms of defensive options. We have talents we can take in the tree. We have Demon Hide, which is always going to be a lock-in. It's actually insane, the power that comes in just this one talent point. Magical damage increased by 5%, so we get damage from it, and physical damage taken reduced by 5%. That's massive. We've been taking a lot of extra physical damage over the past couple patches, and it's kind of been our weak point. It's what kills us. So having this is going to help a ton. We also have Scars of Suffering, increased versatility by 4% and reduces threat generated by 8%. An increased versatility by 4%. That's pretty massive. That's 4% less damage that you're taking. It's much needed, much needed. So I'm not going to look at this tree for much longer. We're going to scroll forward here and keep reading. Havoc tree change thoughts. The changes are a significant buff for Havoc Demon Hunter through a mix of survivability, utility, mobility, currently damage, pending tuning. The changes to the first gate with the points in the area being freed up are great, allowing you to take to talent survivability such as Netherwalk and Deflecting Dance. So that's these new talents up here. Deflecting Dance is the one where you get 15% of your maximum health as an absorb anytime you press Blade Dance. And then we also get Netherwalk. This one is, we kind of just have to take Netherwalk now to move forward in the tree, which is great because Netherwalk is something we couldn't afford to take previously. Now we can get it pretty easily and it doesn't hurt to take it. Couldn't justify taking such as Fell Eruption, we got baseline now too. Fell Eruption is going to be so useful to get back in Mythic Plus. It's a single target stun. So not only do we have Chaos Nova, we have Imprison to stop things, and now we also have Fell Eruption. These changes feel better when choosing your talents while not feeling pushed into losing significant niche defensive options for damage. The tree has some minor issues with pathing, such as a Fire Inside being on the opposite side of the Immolation Aura talents, but being in proximity with Inertia and Unbound Chaos makes sense. So a Fire Inside is this talent, the one that gives you an additional charge of Immolation Aura, and you can potentially proc another refund, and you can stack up all the different procs of Immolation Aura. So you would think, because it's an Immolation Aura based talent, that you would put it over here on this right side of the tree with all the other Immolation Aura talents. Makes sense, right? Well, it got moved over to the left. Now it does still have some synergy here though, because it allows you to much more easily take it with Inertia. Inertia, when empowered by Unbound Chaos, Fell Rush increases your damage done by 20% for 5 seconds. So how do you get Unbound Chaos? Well, you get it from Immolation Aura. With a Fire Inside, we're able to get 2 charges of Immolation Aura, and we're also given that 30% chance to refund a charge, so we can get multiple. So it does make sense that it's still over here on this side of the tree with Inertia and Unbound Chaos. Still a little strange though, right? Definitely a little strange. Inner Demon and Fell Barrage also have frustrating counter synergy, which makes it difficult to utilize both together while sustaining your Fury. Critical Chaos is also an incredibly weak talent blocking off the new Dash of Chaos, which is a great accessibility tool with a lot of cost to take as is. Right, so Inner Demon and Fell Barrage, right? Fell Barrage is over here on the right side of the tree. So Fell Barrage is now sort of a cleave ability where you press it and then you have to keep generating Fury to be able to extend it and keep it rolling. If you run out of Fury, if your bar hits 0, Fell Barrage stops. This is our cleave ability, but then we also have other cleave abilities in the tree, like Inner Demon. Inner Demon, you have to spend Fury to actually use it, right? You have to press Annihilation or Chaos Strike. So that goes against the whole idea of building Fury to extend Fell Barrage. You can't do both together because they counteract each other. So I can understand what he's saying there. Now, Critical Chaos is also an incredibly weak talent blocking off the new Dash of Chaos. So if you wanted to get Dash of Chaos, you actually have to invest a point into Critical Chaos to get down there. And Critical Chaos is, for the most part, not that powerful. It's okay if you're going down this side of the tree, but with everything else that we have going on now, with all of these new Immolation Aura things, we have like Chaotic Disposition, going down this side of the tree just makes way more sense. The left side is kind of lacking. Even just getting Dash of Chaos is at least a 2-point investment, and then you're already going down this side of the tree. So it would be cool if this was a bit more easier to get to, but I don't know what could be done to fix that. I don't know if maybe swapping these two, maybe putting Improved Chaos there, taking Critical Chaos down one. That's the only thing I can think of right now. A significant amount of changes hit the tree, mostly opening up options with very few removals of talents. 2 talents were outright removed in Fellfire Heart, which increased the duration of Immolation Aura and Sigil of Flame by 2 seconds, and Fodder to the Flame got removed. A lot of people were, happy, very, very happy to see this go. Didn't see many people that were sad to see it go, surprisingly. But yeah, I'm gonna miss it a little bit. I do think it was a nice little dopamine hit every time you got a demon, and it felt good sometimes, but more often than not, it felt horrible. So good riddance. Let's move on from it. While Growing Inferno was changed in functionality to work on the cast of Immolation Aura to soften the loss. Growing Inferno, Immolation Aura's damage increased by 10% each time it deals damage. So this was great to take in combination with Fellfire Heart because you were increasing the duration of your Immolation Aura, meaning you were giving Growing Inferno more active time to ramp up and do more damage. So how they counteracted that was Growing Inferno starts stacking up on the initial hit of Immolation Aura now. Previously, it wouldn't. You would press Immolation Aura, you would do your initial burst of damage, and then it wasn't until the next tick that Growing Inferno started ramping up. But now Growing Inferno just starts right when you press the button. So that, in theory, should counteract losing Fellfire Heart. A couple of talents were shifted to be baseline, and Demonic Appetite, which was reduced to 20 Fury, and Fell Eruption to open up options in the first gate. It took Fell Eruption off the tree, give it to us baseline, that opens up a point for us to spend. Same with Demonic Appetite. These changes, coupled with movement of nodes, made it required to take Netherwalk, and a new talent in Deflecting Dance, or the other choice on both nodes, for pathing to get through the tree, forcing us to take survivability or utility in all situations to cause it not to be a choice of DPS or not. This is great. I love this. We don't have to make that hard choice anymore. We don't have to feel like so bad to have to give up some of our damage talents just because we want to take Netherwalk because we need it for this one specific situational thing. But if we don't take it, if we don't have Netherwalk, then we're screwed, right? So this feels really good to just get these things guilt-free. We don't have to worry about it. Many of our 2-point nodes, such as Critical Chaos and Serrated Glaive, have been changed from 2-point nodes to 1-pointers, giving us the ability to take more options. So again, just freeing up more points for us to play with in that tree. In the second set of changes, talent locations changes significantly, and many nodes were combined to be choice nodes in the bottom half of the tree. Soul Rend was renamed to Soul Scar and made into a choice node with Relentless Onslaught. Glaive Tempest and Chaos Theory were merged into a choice node, and lastly, Restless Hunter and Inner Demon were put into a choice node. Just look at this real quick in game. We can see here we have Chaos Theory and Glaive Tempest on a choice node. We also have Soul Scar and Relentless Onslaught on a choice node. Again, this might seem a little uneven. I said this in my last video. Soul Scar is kind of just a bit more powerful this tier because we have our tier bonus, which is all about Throw Glaive and all about Soul Rend. I think maybe later on the line, Relentless Onslaught might be an option that makes a bit more sense, I guess. And then here we also have Inner Demon and Restless Hunter on a choice node right in the middle. Okay, so this shifted around how many points you needed in the bottom gate by pushing Serrated Glaive up into the secondary talent gate. Initiative was nerfed from 12% to 10%. And lastly, Fell Barrage was reworked to drain 32 Fury per second up to a maximum of 8 seconds, requiring some effort to sustain it for its full duration and max damage. Now, what is new? Plenty of new talents have popped up, which will be listed below, going from top of the tree and working down it. So at the top of the list, we have Dash of Chaos. This talent allows you to Fell Rush back to your starting position shortly after the cast using the global and dealing damage. I can show that to you real quick here. Okay, so this is what Dash of Chaos looks like. We'll Fell Rush, and we press it again. It sends us right back. You can do some pretty cool things with this. You can go like forward and then kind of create a triangle. There's a lot of cool other little gamey type of things that you can do, but I assume they're going to get fixed, so I'm not going to show those to you because I don't want anyone to get banned. Moving on, we got Demon Hide, simply a 5% increase to magic damage dealt and a 5% decrease to physical damage taken. This is an incredibly powerful node that puts a lot of work in against the complaints of Havoc Demon Hunter's weakness to physical damage intake, kind of what I said at the start, while being tied to DPS to not be a survivability versus damage choice. Deflecting Dance, a form of Blade Dance dodge making a return. This is a short duration 15% max HP shield that works against direct damage. So it's not going to protect you from AoE damage, but anything that's hitting you directly. So anything that's being cast at you. So if there's a mob that's casting I don't know, a shadow bolt at you, that will work. Or if there's a mob that's hitting you, that's meleeing you, that will work as well. But if there's just generic AoE damage happening, it won't help. This talent is great that it allows you to save Blade Dance for a defensive option in expected and needed situations that Havoc previously lacked flexible survivability tools. Scars of Suffering, another simple node. 4% versatility is enough power to almost always warrant a point on its own. The 8% threat reduction, however, is exceptionally welcome for Mythic Plus, where Havoc Demon Hunters are notorious for ripping threat. I've had it happen way too many times, whether it was Immolation Aura or early Fellblade at the start of a pull. Anything like that would just pull threat right away. And it was really annoying and kind of scary, because then you'd have to use your blur, then you're stuck for the rest of that pull without any defensive. So hopefully 8% threat reduction is enough. It should be. We also have Inertia, choice node directly competing against Momentum, focused in a stronger short-term buff for burst windows while also allowing significantly less movement in Havoc's rotation compared to the previous seasons of the expansion. So yeah, this is just kind of a shorter, higher damage increase. Kind of have to plan around a little bit more. It's worth doing because the 20% increased damage is pretty good when you use it in your opener or in your like essence break windows. Whereas Momentum, this has been changed now where Momentum can stack up to 30 seconds as opposed to the 10 seconds previously. So this just makes it a little more easier to maintain. You have to worry about it a little less, and you can save your Fell Rushes for those moments where you might need some extra mobility or to dodge a mechanic or whatever. So Chaotic Disposition, a significant damage increase to any ability dealing chaos damage. It essentially has 7 rolls of a 7.77 chance per damage event, and each roll separately will deal 21% damage if it hits. What this is essentially doing is it's making a mastery version of Know Your Enemy. It's basically all it is. It's passive damage. If you look at the contribution to your overall damage in a sim, they're essentially doing the same thing. They're adding the same amount. Know Your Enemy, I think, is maybe still just a little higher right now, but that's all this is. This is a mastery version of Know Your Enemy. So if we look, this is from a dungeon that we did a couple nights ago, and you can see Chaotic Disposition is right there, the top of the damage breakdown. So it's yeah, it does a lot of damage, especially when you do things like when you're taking Any Means Necessary, where you're converting your Immolation Auras into chaos damage, and you're converting the Hunt into chaos damage, all these other things that can now contribute into Chaotic Disposition. So yeah, it's a pretty cool talent. Here's something I didn't notice until not too long ago. I don't know if you guys caught on to this, but the fact that there is a 7.77% chance to duplicate the damage, you know, like what triple sevens are, right? Like slot machine. It's literally an RNG slot machine, but it's proccing so many times. There's so many things proccing it that it's not as RNG as you might think, but it's just kind of a fun little Easter egg put in there by the devs, making it 7.77% chance. And now, a Fire Inside. This talent turns Immolation Aura into a 2-charge system, allowing you to overlap multiple Immolation Aura casts. This has good synergy with talents such as Unbound Chaos and Inertia, while also introducing some fun RNG into the rotation. Fun RNG. Not sure about that, but yes, it does absolutely introduce some RNG. You're going to have your 2 charges no matter what. Then from there, you have a 30% chance to proc another charge. You can get charges, or you can get procs of new charges back to back to back. The highest that we've seen so far is 5. So you can get up to 5 Immolation Auras on you at the same time. They're all affected by Growing Inferno separately. They're all affected by Burning Wound, and they each have their own individual Rage Fire. So that's really cool, especially if you're taking it with Any Means Necessary. It's going to be a lot of damage. While many of the choice nodes, such as Demon Hide and Scars of Suffering, are generic, they go towards fixing the issues Havoc had in harder content such as Cutting Edge Raiding or High-End Mythic Plus, making them feel like great additions. Deflecting Dance similarly brings back one of the most loved mechanics removed from Havoc, allowing for skillful expression of Blade Dance as a defensive tool. Dash of Chaos is a good talent option, making Momentum significantly easier to play, as both the original Fell Rush cast and the Dash of Chaos will proc Momentum. However, due to it costing a talent point, and triggering another GCD, it seems it will not be optimal to run. Yeah, I think we will still see some people opt into using it, but if you're looking at min-maxing, you won't be doing this. Inertia is a personal favorite of mine. This is written by Shad. Breaking up the Fell Rush on cooldown playstyle that current momentum forces, allowing for a rotation with significantly less movement and powerful buff windows. A Fire Inside has exceptional synergy with Inertia, causing you to be able to double cast Unbound Chaos during cooldown windows by banking your charges and giving you about 40% more cast of Immolation Aura and Unbound Chaos by the RNG resets. Lastly, Chaotic Disposition is a surprising new choice. The large RNG swings of the talent are mostly covered by the extremely high amount of damage events on Havoc, which means it mostly ends up just being a large aura buff and requiring you to talent into any means necessary if you have committed the points to Chaotic Disposition. Okay, slight talent reworks. There have been some minor changes and reworks to talent worth noting. Critical Chaos, Growing Inferno, Unbound Chaos, Serrated Glaive, and Soulscar were all changed to be 1-point talents, with a large part of their power dropped to account for the free talent point. So because these all became 1 talent point nodes instead of 2, their overall impact and value had to be dropped just a little bit to match that because they are now only 1-pointers. Glaive Tempest had its values pushed around, going from a 20-second to 25-second cooldown, increasing its damage by 15%, and changing it from a 5-target soft cap to 8-target soft cap. Now, increasing the damage on Glaive Tempest by 15% is pretty substantial. That's a big buff. So yeah, Glaive Tempest kinda pumps now. Fell Barrage was changed in a similar sense to Frost Death Knight's Breath of Sindragosa, now draining 32 fury per second to continuously stream damage out to nearby enemies as a passive buff, capped to 8 seconds. This causes a large shift in playstyle during the window to be certain to maintain the buff until it comes out. Serrated Glaive received great changes. It is now applied by and buffs Throw Glaive and Chaos Strike. This is a significant improvement over the previous iteration of being applied exclusively through Throw Glaive and buffing I-Beam. Shattered Destiny was nerfed, now taking 10 fury per 0.1 second extension, up from the previous 8 fury. Cycle of Hatred is now triggered by Throw Glaive when talented into Furious Throws. So again, this is, I think a lot of people are looking past this. This is pretty impactful because we're going to be taking Furious Throws due to our tier set, because our tier set is Throw Glaive centric, right? So we're going to be taking this doubles any glaive we throw out. We get a second glaive. And because we've taken this, those glaives that we are either the ones we're pressing manually, like you're pressing the button to throw a glaive, or the primary glaive that's being procced from your 2-piece set bonus, those will all funnel into Cycle of Hatred and reduce the cooldown on I-Beam, allowing us to stay in Demonic longer. So class tree changes, thoughts. The Demon Hunter class trees received a significant amount of changes to pathing and talent placements. We gained multiple extra points from various sources, Unrestrained Fury being shifted to a 1-pointer, Sigil of Flame becoming baseline, while both Illidari Knowledge and Will of the Illidari were turned from 2-pointers to 1 and buffed to 5%. In general, many talents were removed or changed, which I have listed below. The biggest change is Elysian Decree being moved to the class tree as a keystone in competition with the Hunt and Collective Anguish. Overall, the changes are extremely positive. It feels less punishing to take wanted talents or utility, and there is a wiggle room for a minor DPS loss if you, for example, need Pitch Black by dropping stacks of Flames of Fury. Getting rid of Fodder to the Flame kind of freed up some things. Last week, we had Fodder to the Flame and Collective Anguish on a choice node, which is what felt a little weird to me because we've become so used to having Collective Anguish, right? Doing that extra damage and also getting the heal from it. Although, you know, for the first half of Season 1, the heal didn't even work, but that's besides the point. It felt weird having to choose. Now we don't have to choose, really, because Fodder's gone. Now we have the Hunt, which we're always going to take because our 4-piece is based around the Hunt, and Collective Anguish. So the choice is between Elysian Decree and Collective Anguish. There are some ideas around how we can use Elysian Decree to our benefit, especially due to the fact that we're spawning 3 Lesser Soul Fragments, which are giving us Fury, which can then feed into Fell Barrage if we're going that route. There are some theory crafting things happening on that front, but again, that will be something for a later date. What's changed? The changes to the class tree were not as significant to Havoc, and for the most part, new talents were avoided except for a couple. So Misery and Defeat, First of the Illidari, Unleashed Power, and Extended Sigils, all removed. Thank God. I did not like playing with Misery in Defeat. Chaos Nova reduced from 60 seconds to 45 seconds cooldown and 30 to 25 Fury cost. Choice Node, including Unnatural Malice, was removed from the tree, putting the dot increased baseline into the hunt damage. Rush of Chaos was moved down into the final gate of the tree and increased to a 2-pointer to significantly increase the cost of the talent to be in line with the power. Elysian Decree moved from the spec tree to replace Quickened Sigils Keystone spot. Quickened Sigils nerfed and no longer reduces sigil cooldown. Concentrated Sigils and Precise Sigils no longer increase the duration of your sigils by 2 seconds. Erratic Fellheart nerfed and reduced from 20% to 15% at rank 2. Demonic nerfed from 6 seconds to 5 seconds per window. Shattered Restoration, Unrestrained Fury, Illidari Knowledge, and Will of the Illidari all changed to 1-point talents. What's new? Very few new things were added. However, Live by the Glaive was added in the position of Misery in Defeat. So Live by the Glaive is when you parry an attack or have one of your attacks parried, restore 4% of your maximum health and 10 Fury. This effect may only occur once every 5 seconds. Mostly a tank or PvP focused talent that Havoc is unlikely to run in PvE content. Flames of Fury was added, which massively increases the damage of Sigil of Flame, making it an important rotational button. So yeah, we're going to be pressing Sigil of Flame in our rotation now. It might sound weird at first, but I promise you on AoE, Sigil of Flame absolutely cranks now. It does a ton of damage. It got buffed, and it's generating you Fury, which we're actually going to need now, and we'll learn about why in a second. Champion of the Glaive was added on a choice node with Master of the Glaive, giving increased range instead of a move speed snare, which seems to also be for Vengeance instead of Havoc. So here we go, gameplay. How is your rotation going to change? Let's talk about it. With the rework of the talent trees, Havoc Demon Hunter had a pretty large shift in its Fury economy. Isolated Prey, no longer giving Fury on Fell Rush, fantastic by the way. Demonic Appetite being nerfed from 30 to 20 Fury while becoming baseline, and Critical Chaos becoming a 1-point node from talent changes significantly nerfs the Fury coming in. So we have a lot less Fury coming in now. Additionally, with the loss of our Season 2 tier set, another minor Fury source is lost. With these changes, Fellblade was changed to be a shortened 0.5 second global to have significantly more impact by easily fitting in the rotation, and Sigil of Flame was made baseline, with supporting talents increasing its damage output. So it's now more worthwhile to press both of those buttons because we're not getting all of our Fury from Fell Rushes, and these things have now been improved to just feel better to incorporate into our play. After all the changes, typically Havoc still always has Fury to spend and use globals. However, moments of running dry on Fury can happen much easier than before, and the playstyle feels less frantic and spammy compared to the Season 2 iteration. Fantastic. I'm so happy about that. The cool thing about Season 1, in my opinion, was it was a little bit more calculated. You weren't always just blasting damage, spamming all your buttons and hoping for the best. It was more so like you had your essence break window every 40 seconds. You were kind of just planning around that, and in between you weren't really spamming. You were doing what you could, but you weren't spamming. You were just kind of chilling out, doing what you could in the meantime, and then when your Essence Break combo came back around, you were blasting. The Fury changes coupled with the nerf of Demonic from 6 seconds to 5 seconds and the nerf of Shattered Destiny from 8 Fury per 0.1 seconds extension to 10 Fury allowed for Metamorphosis to be shifted to a 2-minute cooldown. So we're getting meta every 2 minutes now with the talent in the class tree Rush of Chaos. This feels smoother due to our cooldown cadence of 40 seconds from Essence Break and I-Beam, causing everything to line up properly, while resulting in Havoc having reduced uptime on Metamorphosis, which was a major complaint due to the feast or famine nature requiring uptime. I hope that this fixes that issue, or at least makes it a little bit less punishing. It sounds like it will. The problem was that anytime you lost a GCD, any lost GCD, you weren't reducing the cooldown on I-Beam. Any GCD that you missed, you weren't pressing Annihilation, you weren't pressing Death Sweep, you just weren't reducing that cooldown on I-Beam. So you were having less uptime in Demonic, just meant less damage. If we're able to use meta more often now, we have that in our favor. We also have Throw Glaive, which is going to be contributing to Cycle of Hatred as well. I think that problem is going to be a little less annoying than it used to be. So let's talk about the problems that are still happening for Havoc. There are still some issues that remain, despite the rework being largely positive, that I would like to highlight. Inner Demon, while being a significantly powerful AoE talent, feels awful in many situations. Due to Inner Demon being fired on Chaos Strike, you typically only have the choice to stop spending Fury to hold casting it. Inner Demon takes too long to land and explode at the target location, which is true. I don't know if you guys ever noticed it, but you'll press Chaos Strike and you'll see the demon kind of leap out about, I don't know, like half a second, maybe even a full second later, and then it explodes. Inner Demon takes too long to land and explodes at the target location, causing it able to miss the target, it was fired at if they're moving while you cast. The hitbox is also quite small, which causes it to have issues hitting all mobs in large AoE scenarios. The hunt is still hard target capped at 5 and requires stepping through mobs to apply the dot debuff when used in melee. Ideally, having it apply in an AoE around the target or something similar, or some similar workaround could feel significantly better to play with. I've always found that a little weird, and it's something that I've had to tell a lot of Havoc players, and they hear about it and they're like, oh, I can just kind of like shuffle through the mobs after I land to spread the dot. And yeah, you can do that. It is annoying though. It's definitely annoying. I do agree that if the dot was applied in, I don't know, maybe a 5-yard 10-yard radius around the targeted mob, once you actually like reached it in your trajectory, that could be pretty useful. I would like to see that change. I don't know if they'd do it because it seems almost too good to be true, but we'll see. Yeah, I mean, we're gonna get another couple weeks of PTR patch notes, so we'll see what this week has in store for us. I'm hoping for the best. Okay, so closing thoughts. With the changes, Havoc Demon Hunter appears to be in a great spot moving into patch 10.2 Guardians of the Dream. The options to reduce movement requirements in the rotation are incredibly welcome, new talents are exciting, and bugs/issues are not rampant. Unexpected changes like 2-minute metamorphosis are largely enjoyed, while talents like Scars of Suffering and Demon Hide help to cover our pain points in high-end Mythic Plus content. The buffs to the tier set round out everything to put Havoc in a powerful and exciting position heading into the next tier. So yeah, overall, very good changes. There's not much to complain about the way it's looking right now. And like I said, we can still get tuning, things can still change, and they will change over the next couple weeks. But as of right now, we probably are still running Essence Break. You can flex out of Essence Break, you can put the point into something else, you can go like, I don't know, you can put it into Glaive Tempest if you want. But I think a lot of people are used to actually playing with Essence Break now. I think we've had the Essence Break rotation drilled and hammered into our brains and into the memory of our fingers that sometimes it kind of feels weird to not play with it. So we'll have to see what people choose in the end. Other than that, I do think that we are going to be choosing one or the other in terms of momentum or inertia. Inertia isn't as bad as you guys might think. If you don't mind using Unbound Chaos, then you're not going to mind using inertia. That's basically all it boils down to. Maybe there's going to be some changes that allow and facilitate a no-mover build altogether. Anything's possible. We'll have to see. So before I let you guys go, I just want to let you know that there have been some massive changes over on our Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jedith. We have a new sticker club where every month you can get a sticker designed by the team over here. We have merch giveaways that you can enter. We have behind the scenes footage and scripts ahead of time. So before these videos are released, you'll get all this information kind of ahead of the crowd. We have other things like merch giveaways. If you're a streamer, there's like stream coaching over there where you can be added to my raid list. When I'm streaming at the end of my stream, I look for someone to raid. You can be put on that list. There's also my monthly blog where I talk about things like the state of the game, sometimes even some personal stuff, things I'm working on, things I'm going through in my life. It's just kind of a place for me to brain dump. And if you're interested in that, you can check that out as well. There's all kinds of stuff for you to check out there. So if you are looking to support me as a creator, Patreon is the best way that you can do it because they take the smallest cut. So things like a sub over on Twitch takes 50% of that. So if you're looking to support me on a more frequent basis, the best way that you can do that is through Patreon, where they take a minimal, I think it's like 8%. Compare that to 50%, it's much more reasonable, and I appreciate that from Patreon. So go check it out. Enjoy the perks. There's some really cool stuff over there. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go now. Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a like, sub to the channel, do all the other cool stuff, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.